Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all of you from NISM for joining this webinar on driving financial innovation through applied data science. We are honored to welcome the speakers for the webinar, Dr. Kirti Arekar and Mr. Vivek Dandapani. Dr. Kirti Arekar, professor at the National Institute of Securities Market with over 2 decades of experience in teaching, research, training, and consulting in data and statistical analysis since 2000. She has previously served at esteemed institutions such as KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, Wellinkar Institute of Management, and Narsi Munji Institute of Management, Mumbai. Her academic credentials include a PhD in statistics and an integrated program in business analytics from IIM Indore. Dr. Arekar has an impressive portfolio of 275 research publications in international and national journals and has presented her work at renowned universities worldwide, including Harvard University, University of Manchester, University of Emirates, University of Wellington, and Hull University. She has received several accolades, including the Best Research Paper Award at Third International Conference on Global Independence and Decision Science at Administrative Staff College, Hyderabad, 2008. Best Paper Award by the Global Economy and Finance Journal, Canada in 2013, and the University of Boston, USA in 2012. Dr. Kirti Arekar has been featured as the Notable Women Personalities of India 2024 on businesstalks.com. Our another speaker for today's session, Mr. Vivek Dandapani, with over 11 years of experience in analytics, finance, and strategic operations. He has held key positions including senior manager at Bain and Company and chief operator officer at Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research. Mr. Dandapani holds an MBA in Analytics and Finance from the Indian Institute of Technology Madras and a BE in Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering from Anna University, Chennai. Now, Vivek sir will be giving a presentation. Meanwhile, participants can ask for questions in the question and answer box. Over to you, Vivek sir.
Thank you, Priti, for the warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me share my screen to welcome you all again, like in terms of this webinar. So today we'll discuss about driving financial innovation through applied data science. So this brief webinar will just talk about financial innovation. We'll just understand what is financial innovation as such in a broad spectrum. And then we'll talk about how do we apply data science. And then a couple of cases as well in terms of industry segments where how data science is used, especially in the context of financial domain. So coming to financial innovation. So what does actually it means? So it could be like anything. It could be in terms of a creation and adoption of new financial instruments or technologies or services or processes. So it doesn't end with only technology. That's the key aspect. So it could be any financial instrument, say something like green bonds coming into play, or of course, technologies. You have a lot of things, especially in terms of fintech and also in terms of services, say something neobank coming into play, and also in terms of processes. The way you store data, earlier it was more towards centralized databases, now moving towards decentralization. So in aspects like instruments, technologies, services, processes, anywhere there could be innovation. So that could be something like creation as well as adoption. So financial innovation as such is a broad term and it accommodates adoption or creation across any of these aspects. So something like mobile banking. Okay, earlier it was more towards banking where you need to go. I mean, like it. I mean, as in a branch and then discuss with the bankers. Whereas later it moves towards completely internet banking. It's more towards net banking and then mobile banking, right? And then purely it will be more towards neo banking as such. So there will be no any physical banks as such. Everything will be, it could be like, I mean, the future I'm saying. I mean, that's how it is basically. And you have a robo advisors as well. So in terms of taking any financial decision as such, you need to have the robo advisory part. So it's not just about the human intervention, it's completely more towards the AI part where robots takes care of looking into your data, analyzing, and then presenting the results. And the other aspect, as I said, like it's more towards in terms of the technology aspect, especially in terms of how you store it. I mean, say for example, earlier it was more towards centralization. So it will be like the databases will be stored in centralized manner, and then the entire power will be in the centralized aspect. Whereas now it's moving towards decentralization. That's how the blockchain coming into play, distributed ledger technologies coming into play, and it the market changes, evolves basically. And so in terms of financial innovation, a lot of things come into play. And also taking into account the green bonds, it could be one of the example of a financial instrument. And of course, and when you discuss about this financial innovation, and there is also a lot of hype about AI and machine learning at this point of time. Why AI at this point of time? We have a lot of hype. I mean, if you look into the theoretical aspect as such in terms of AI was introduced very well long back, right in 1954, and earlier days as well. But the main reason of the becoming popular as such is because of the data availability, and the most important aspect is about the computational power. So earlier, say in 2000s, the early 1990s, 2000s, and it was more towards the IT sectors booming up. The focus was more towards the data part in terms of how do you store it, retrieve it. But now, taking into account the data variability, especially in terms of you have structured data, unstructured data, and especially in financial sectors, you need to understand the sentiments of the markets. In that case, it's mostly unstructured data, and then you need to have a complete understanding of the unstructured data and you need to process it. So earlier we didn't have enough power or capacity to process it. Right now, thanks to the new GPUs, TPUs, LPUs, you have the computational power to process them. That's the main important aspect of this aspect of financial innovation getting more popular and supported by the innovation in AI as such. So, and as I said, like the rapid digital transformation aspects, especially from digitalization, it moves towards digital transformation. And then, of course, increasing data availability, computational power. And also, there's a regulatory push as well in terms of innovation. So that's why there's a huge boom and it's a good scope for everyone to, I mean, to update themselves, irrespective of whatever they're doing. Basically, they could update themselves in their skill set and then have a better opportunities actually. I mean, move towards better opportunities, especially in the domain of AI in finance. And take thanks to this data science role, especially like you can enter into any field, even irrespective of the background. You could be from just from BCom or wherever it is, like BA or even if you're not. I mean, why I'm saying is BCom and BA completely new to technology as well. And you have these data sciences coming into play. They help you out to learn quickly, and then you can use them, especially in terms of prediction, automation, and personalization. And it's more towards earlier when you take a decision, of course, it was more towards intuitions. And if you look into the senior people, I mean, they might say like based on the past experiences, on the intuitions, they take a decision. Right now, it's more towards insights. The insights are driven by the data analysis and analytics part. So it's like you have a strong, what to say, like a background or a reason, a rational to take a decision, and it's purely based on data insights. So taking into account this in a nutshell, the financial innovation is such. I mean, there is an option for creation and adoption. Basically, these are two main elements. Either it can be part of the creation aspect, or it can be part of the adoption aspect across any spectrum. It could be instrument, technology, service, or processes. And moving towards the data science, so let's quickly look into what is applied data science. It's very, very simple. Whereas if you look into, I mean, applied mathematics or applied whatever subjects you have, the same way, you are applying something, mainly the statistical aspects and the computational techniques, and of course, a bit of machine learning as well, and to extract value from data for practical use. So you have the data, it could be structured or unstructured data. You just apply statistics and the computational techniques and try to create an insight, right? That's where. And in the insight, once you generate the insight, you leverage it to make a decision out of it, a business decision out of it. if in theoretical reasons, or if you look into theoretical data science, it was more towards forming the models or proofs or architectures. Say, for example, if you look into AI architectures or even ML architectures, even for that matter, linear algebra and mathematics as well. So you have the formulas developed. So those areas are more towards theoretical aspects, whereas with respect to applied data science, it's more towards to try to solve a problem. So you have a problem, you try to understand the problem, and you collect the data, and then you try to address the data, and then you try to solve them. That's where the applied data science comes into play. And predominantly, we're focusing on the domain finance. Of course, you can once you learn the data science in finance, you can apply to other areas as well. But in finance itself, there's a huge opportunity where you can apply across different domains. Say something like optimizing portfolios in SAPM, basically security analysis and portfolio management. There you can optimize. And in terms of derivatives, risk management, you can price your derivatives, and you can also forecast your macro trends. You can detect anomalies, and you can do a lot more things, basically taking into account unstructured data as well. Then you can much more do sentiment analysis, something like that. So that's how the applied data science part. It's basically you're applying some techniques. It could be basic fundamental mathematics oriented techniques, computation statistic techniques, trying to understand the problem and then solve the problem and get an insight out of it, right? So that's how I mean you have I mean slowly you get into towards cases basically where how do you apply? So you need to learn a lot about first of all the basics like the statistics part, because statistics is the main fundamental aspects, and then you try to learn that and try to apply that basically like why do we use basically, and then you try to solve a problem, and you develop cases over. And at a higher level, if we look into, if someone asks like what are the financial challenges that we could address and the opportunities for the data science person as such, I mean, we have a list of a few challenges I've listed out and data science opportunities as well. Especially in terms of the fraud, you have a huge scope in fraud analytics and the real-time anomaly detection and pattern recognition. There is again a huge area anyone can look into that aspect. Again, if you look into the next is the most towards credit risk assessment, right? So in your predominantly a lot of classification problems are getting addressed here, especially in terms of credit assessment. So you have something like predictive scoring using alternative data. And as the customer dynamics change, I mean, the consumer behavior patterns change, the expectations completely change there. In that case, you need to change as a business person, right? You need to behave or change your offerings, catering to the requirements of the customers. In that case, AI or data science helps you much, especially in terms of offering hyper personalized banking experiences, which is very, very essential in today's market because, especially across generations, say it could be like Millennium or Gen Zs, their expectations change. And in that case, how do you customize your products or offerings? And that's how, I mean, data science helps you out. So you have a challenge, at the same time, data science brings you into an opportunity. And of course, everyone knows market is so volatile, and you need to have adaptive algorithm trading models as well, right? In that case, you try to maximum extent use the data, try to figure it out, and then try to use your algorithm trading models as well. And there again, you have this uh, a lot of applications, especially in terms of AI space. And finally, it's more towards the regulatory complexity, right? So there's a big challenge there, especially if you look into, say, see, you have financial innovation coming into play, new products coming into play, new technologies, new processes, new services. In that case, how do you, as a regulator, it'll be very difficult, right? Like, so they also need to look into this. They have to evaluate. They need to look into the system, ecosystem as such, explore opportunities, and figure out where it could affect the common man. And again, that's a huge challenge there. Again, in that area, one could develop a huge career, especially in terms of AI-powered compliance, especially in terms of RegTech, right? So that's again a huge area one could definitely explore over the period of time, slowly when they get into the basics of data science and move towards advanced versions of data science, and then they could pick up one area, whichever area one is comfortable with, and then definitely they could go ahead with uh, whichever area. I mean, these are just a few areas I mentioned out, but there are n number of areas outside. You can just in the finance domain itself, and then you can explore a big career out of it. Just a quick note about this. I would like to say, like, if you know, look at JP Morgan's Coin platform, which was recently introduced, right? So they automate document review. I mean, for 12,000 plus contracts in seconds. So earlier it was like, I mean, they were using manual methods. It took a lot of time. I mean, hours, not hours, days, in terms of months actually. And now it's like the Coin platform, which is becoming. I mean, it's more of. I mean, like used by JP Morgan there, and it solves the problem, especially in terms of reducing the time. I mean, like multifold by, I mean, from hours to seconds, actually, not even by from hours, no, days to seconds, I would say. So in terms of key technologies, like the basic, I mean, I'm just looking at the basics to fundamentals to start with. I mean, later on you can get into other aspects basically. So again, if you look into any technology, first we should start with the language. When I talk about language, of course, Python plays a huge role, and of course, R. R is more towards statistics, and Python is more towards analysis, especially in terms of machine learning and AI. Industries, a lot of industries are completely using Python because you have a lot of open source libraries and packages which are customized catering to the business needs, right? So that's how it is. Like if you can pick anything as of now, like you can Python or whichever is comfortable to you. And it's I would recommend, like, I mean, you need not know, even not learn actually, because everything is given by chat GPT. All you need to know is like the basic syntax, how to use Python. That's more important than actually coding Python. So 3 4 years back, it was difficult. The sense like you need to code from scratch, but right now that's not the case. All you need to know is how to use Python. That's more than enough, and then you can solve any problem. And if you look into the next level of, you have data, you want analysis, do an analysis. In that case, you have like Python-based libraries, and you have other libraries with respect to R as well. And the NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and these are the basic libraries which are used across industry as well as academics as well, especially in terms of the data analysis part. And when you look into the business analytics and visualization, of course, I mean, these are the two main products, Tableau and Power BI preferred, I mean, predominantly preferred. Of course, you can use your own Python based as well. Of course, Matplotlib, then Seaborn, other things are used for data visualization as well. So right now, it's more about, oh, I mean, you should understand like what technologies, platforms or libraries, packages are available, and how do you use them. Basically, it's not about the coding part. If you know how to, if you know like, okay, these packages do exist, and you can learn it because ChatGPT or any other DeepSeek or anything for that matter, any application which uses an LLM gives you all information. It's all about how did you leverage it, as simple as that. And over the period of time, I would say, like, you need to, as a data science professional, you need to have developed the core competencies, especially in the terms of data cleaning and pre-processing. Of course, the exploratory data analysis part, the dashboard development, statistical modeling, data storytelling, predictive analytics. I mean, I would say like, I mean, I would limit here actually, especially in terms of the core competencies to start with, because I do not want to overload with other stuff, bringing in machine learning AI together completely here, because this is be a good foundation where you could spend some time, develop a good foundation here, and become confident, and then move towards other areas as such, right? That's how you can, any sector or any technology, you just get into the foundations, get acquainted, and then get in hands-on and be comfortable with subject and work with 2 3 cases, work upon, and then get a real-time problem and then move ahead actually, right? So with this, I mean, I'll just to take you through a couple of cases, maybe 2 3 cases, so that you understand the importance of the applied data science section, right? So it's very important. So in this, the fraud detection. So this is a very, very important aspect or application, I would say, especially thanks to data science. Annually, if you see, $40 billion is lost, right, because of the financial frauds, right? Earlier, what happened was we used rule-based systems, especially against the evolving threats. Earlier, it was more towards rule-based systems. So rule-based systems are basically like you have a rule and it has to follow. It's like the if-else statements you have, and if the rule is bypassed. I mean, there are a lot of aspects where you could overcome them easily. So it was very difficult to initially detect frauds. But later on, if you look into the ML solutions, actually, you can detect anomalies very easily, right? And also you have graph-based fraud detection, the network link analysis at a higher level. And most importantly, right, it's not that you have a data and then you try it out later point of. It's more towards real time as some credit card fraud thing happens, you will be able to understand or sense it out in a real time. That's the most important aspect. The real time alert systems integrated with the core banking, right? So that's how the powerful AI systems are right now, especially, and the foundation is completely statistics and the basics that we have seen earlier, the earlier slide actually. That's how you start it, and you can develop yourself in terms of developing a real-time alert system, and that could be integrated with core banking. Okay, it's not about just core banking. You could integrate with anything for that matter as such, right? It could be across BFSI or even other sectors as well, right? So with respect to this problem as such, earlier it was $40 billion last, and the impact was about 25 to 30% reduction in fraud-related losses. That's a big thing, right? Like also in terms of enhanced KYC AML compliance. Okay, so, I mean, earlier there were a lot of issues were very difficult to address, whereas right now, with respect to again ML and AI part, I mean, you have the faster resolutions and reduced customer churn. Okay. Customer churn is again a big issue the market and a lot of companies face, and figuring out why it happens, right? So that's where you have a lot of data. You try to analyze, understand, and then you try to work it out. And one example I would say, like PayPal uses deep learning to address fraud risks across millions of transactions, right? So it's not about millions of transactions per month or something like that. It's per day, right? So they do it and they try to detect, right, in real time. That's the most important aspect. So with respect to the next case, it's more important on the credit scoring, right? See, it's very important because this day AI solves not only the data aspects and a lot of other aspects as well. Say, for example, a person is involved in understanding the credit history, right? As an individual, as a manual person. Imagine there is no system. The morning he might be very fresh, looking into two, three cases, it might be fresh. Later on, afternoon, up to afternoon, it will be fresh. After lunch, okay, fine. Even 2 to 3 o'clock, it will be fresh. But beyond that, imagine like again sitting on reading the credit history, what happens like he becomes tired and there could be a lot of biases as such, right? So in that case, we need a mechanism or a system, right? So that it is unbiased mainly, especially in terms of understanding the credit history and the data, the past history completely, understanding today's income and also estimating what are the future income opportunities for this particular candidate as such. So it's more of unbiased stuff, and it's more of not just it takes time as well. It doesn't take time as well, basically. So in that case, uh, uh, it solves a lot of things actually. So initially, as I said, like relies heavily on credit history. The traditional approach excludes large swathes of population, especially I mean, the traditional aspect, it takes a lot of time also, right? Whereas if you look into the modern approach, it uses behavioral data. Example, the phone usage, social media, I mean, unstructured data, payment patterns as such, and ensemble models. Of course, these ensemble models are more of machine learning models. You use different models actually to understand the behavioral aspect. It's not just about direct data as such. I'm talking about the behavioral aspects as well. When you're trying to understand the behavioral aspects, then you're trying to move towards you have a better enhanced predicting power, right? You try to have a better predictive power so that you have a lower default rate, right? That's a very important aspect. And also in terms of the broader inclusion. So we can micro lending in Africa, India, what happens is like you can get into that dimension as well. Inclusion, again, I would say like a big area to work it out. And especially if you look into an example like Upstart, right? It's a marketplace model, right? So where you try to show, I mean, like it uses completely ML stuff, especially in terms of credit scoring and risk modeling. So this shows like 24% more approvals with 16% lower defaults than traditional models. So in real time they're using it. Okay, once you get into the basics foundations, you will be able to understand and use credit scoring models, and then build a case out of it and try to get into a good I mean anywhere, a company or your own startup or something like that, where you could work on with the credit area itself, because this area is a huge area where one could explore in depth actually, in terms of understanding as well as in terms of improving as such. And one more use case, I would say, like especially in terms of personalization, because that is very, very important. Right? As I said, like the consumer preferences change, right? Over the period of time, you see, like, see, if you're not changing or acting towards your consumer preferences, you will not be in the market, right? See, a simple example I could give you is, say, like Nokia, right? Nokia was, like, I mean, like early 2000s or later in 2000s as well. And Nokia sales, I mean, imagine what are the sales they have done in India or across as well, right? So it was more preferred or used or purchased a mobile phone in that case. But they were not, I would say, like didn't act according to the changes in the consumer preferences, right? That's how they lost the market share, right? And they're nowhere in the market as well, right? So if you're not adapting yourselves, that's a huge challenge as such, right? Towards the consumer preferences and consumer behavior, then it's very, very difficult as such, right? As a business opportunity, it's a business opportunity for other competitors as well. You yourself create a huge vacuum, and then others just come and fill it actually, right? So in that case, the pain points. Let me go quickly look into the pain points where generic offerings, right, that drive disengagement, and the retention and loyalty are critical in competitive markets. As I said, like it's very difficult, right? You need to retain them, and the most important part is the loyalty. Like the loyalty is very difficult actually, because taking into account new products, I mean, and new offerings basically, and not only that as well, in terms of the cost as well. Say that a competitor comes in and gives you the same product at 10% of the cost that you charge. In that case, obviously, right? You will be preferring your competitors, I mean, the other product. So in that case, how does a data science comes into play? So thanks to, again, I would say, like this fundamentals, I would say the uh, linear algebra based models actually, you have huge what to say, like customer personalized solutions as such, right? In today's market, especially if you look into the OTT platforms, you have recommendation engines, right? And and generally, if I mean, and see, you can customize it. Say something like a Netflix for finance. Okay, so how does it work out basically? Like because Netflix has a huge base as such as a customer base, right? You can bring in the priorities. Say if you based on that priorities you understand, and you try to model something and come up with something for your purchasing behavior, something like that. A lot of things could be done, right? And in terms of real-time segmentation based on your customer life cycle and needs as well. Again, that's one area, right? So like in terms of your base, because you are able to understand the life cycle, and then the customer life cycle, and then you try to segment it actually, right? That's very important from the business point of view. And also in terms of churn prediction using survival analysis or classification, you try to predict that and try to address that as well. Why a customer leaves or why an employee leaves, wherever, whichever domain actually, right? In that case, again, that's a huge area you try to. Predominantly here we're talking about customers, so it will be customer churn prediction. That's the main area we're looking upon. And in terms of better techniques, I mean, you have collaborative filtering, clustering, reinforcement. Like these are the various techniques that you could deploy in terms of developing these solutions. Again, but at a higher level. Maybe like first we can start about the fundamentals and then move towards any engines as such, and become familiarized and then move towards that stuff. And you have the Bank of America, you call it as BOFAS, right? BOFAS Erica AI uses predictive prompts and financial coaching. Right? Of course, every other bank recently, like I mean, they started using AI assistants, especially in terms of the financial coaching itself, right? So to help out the customers to learn like what they want, especially in the investor sectors, right? A lot of advisors, also advisory boards, advisory companies as well. What they do is they try to come up with the AI aspect to teach or make sure like the end user, the consumer is well aware of what is happening, more towards their products, their services, where they could actually improve the savings part, right? The investments actually, right? So against across these three, I mean, there are just three use cases just covered today, and you have a number of use cases, and you can invest. Basically, I would say like there are three aspects, like in terms of invest in data, talent, and infrastructure, and foster collaboration between tech, data, and business teams. And as you do, as you be part of what you say like innovation, you have to be ethically respond responsibly, and you need to be clear on what you do as well, right? Yeah, I think I could see a few hands raised. Let me stop here. Invite Dr. Kriti ma'am to take it over.
Okay. So this course is basically designed to teach you about the different tools. But the most important objective behind this course is once the you will get the data, how to build the business problems and how to apply the tools and what are the different technology we will use on the data to interpret. And then the most important like the important part of this course is how to link your interpretation with your business problem. I think nowadays the many students are lacking behind that. So we will try to teach you once you get the interpretation, how to link that interpretation with your business problem. Then here, this is the actually program for industries and research organization for academics for different students, whether they are from technical or any other commerce background or any other mathematics, science, any background, they can join this course. Now, the structure of this course, here we have a two different level of this course. The level one is for 6 months, which is certificate program in data science and securities market, which we call as a basic course. The second level we move after the basic is a advanced certificate program in securities market, which is for 8 months. The eligibility criteria to apply for this course is the minimum education requirement is 12 standard from any recognized board or graduates from any discipline and completed with final degree certificates. They can also eligible and apply for this course. The regarding the program assessment, basically here we are not taking any exams. This is the assessment base. The performance of the participants is assessed through different domain. Like the faculties will take some quiz, some will assign some projects, or they will just give you some evaluation or the case study based analysis. So it is indicated by the faculty once they will start the module. At the end of this course program, the students will get the participants will get the grades, and based on that grades, they will be awarded the certification of completion of basic level of the set program. In this course, the most important we have introduced as a project at the end, where the students can do the project under the faculty, and they will collect the data, either the secondary data or any financial market data, and they will apply the tools and technology whatever we taught in the class, and they need to submit that. So in our campus, we have the data science lab. So we are giving the opportunity to the students. Once they finish this course, we have the campus immersion for 2 days, where the students will come in the campus and physically they will sit in the data science lab, and they will just complete their projects. There will be lot of practical sessions we are going to arrange from the experts from the market. They will just teach you what are the basic application, how this data science tools and technologies are used in the securities market and in different financial markets. The program schedule, this course is basically the module base. In 1 week, we usually try to finish our module. So total, we have 17 modules. So this course will run on Tuesday, Thursday from 7 to 9, which will be 2 hours. And Saturday, Sunday, it will be 3 day will be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Sunday, the course will be from 10 to 1. The recording will be provided to the participants once they finish the any lecture will get over. But I always encourage the students should attend the sessions because the 75% attendance is compulsory if they can attend because this course is designed as a hands-on. So you need to attend the session. That will be the better approach to learn this course. The program will take place in online mode. So the link will be provided to you and all the details will be shared by the team. The selection criteria of this course is based on the screening test. So the screening test where we will just try to test the knowledge of the participants. It's not so difficult screening test. It is just the general mathematics or the statistical topics we will cover in this, like number system, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, elementary statistics, and data interpretation. So the screening test will be conducted online and will be last for 60 minutes with 30 questions, and there will be no negative marking. So the question will be basically very easy question. It's not so difficult. We just try to understand that how the logical and the analytic uh, thinking process the participants are having for this course. So the program fee for the basic level is 61,200 rupees, where the all the campus immersion is the excluding campus immersion, but it is including with GST. The key dates, the application dates, we started from 15th of May. The last date of the application is 15th July. Now the test dates, we are planning to conduct the test between 20th to 31st of July. So the test will be conducted twice or thrice. You will get the intimation once you finish your registration process. You will get the intimation about the test. It will be on the our metal software where the link will be shared and you need to give the this one. You need to give the test. Uh, the declaration of the merit list will be on the 15th of August. After that, we will just generate the offer letters and you need to accept and you need to pay the fee, and the course will start from 23rd of August. Regarding the program details, I already told you this course is in the module base where we are going to teach the 17 modules. So each module is of 10 hours each. The purpose of this course is like not teaching you the technology basically. Here we are more concentrating on the application, but yes, on the simultaneously you need to learn that exactly what Python means, what is the basic things we covered in the Python, how to open the Python or R, how to extract the data, how to interpret. So the basic program, we only covered the basic things where the content areas we will be giving you the mathematics for financial market, statistics, then we are giving the introduction of programming in Python. So we are not teaching the advanced coding, but yes, the small financial models we will try to build by using the Python. And Python is not so difficult nowadays because lot of AI tools are there. If you are making any mistake in your coding, you can directly go in your chat GPT and use any AI tools to just get the code. But the most important thing, you need to understand that how to extract the data, how to open the Python. So the basic coding you need once you, so purpose of this module is to give you the basic coding or the basic things, how to open the Python, how to deal with the Python, that we are going to teach. Then we have the introduction to securities market for 10 hours. We have one more good module, that is a spreadsheet for data analysis. We are teaching the Excel tool in that, how to develop the small financial data in Excel, how to analyze the data. there is a data visualization design where we are going to teach the students about the how to create a dashboard by using the data, how to link your Facebook or any RBI or SEBI, any newspaper data with your different technology like Power BI, Tableau, how we will link that with our
Yeah, someone has asked about R. Definitely, yes. Will be discussing about R in depth actually, the R functions as well. Regarding the schedule, yes, you will have the schedule and not an issue like here. Yes, especially with respect to one question on Python, we'll be starting off with fundamentals of Python, and I mean, there are two courses, right? Like one is basics and it's advanced, right? So in one the basics course, we will definitely cover all the libraries and specs, and in the advanced course, we'll be focusing more towards AI and ML part, more into the machine learning aspect, especially the supervised learning and supervised deep learning stuff, and also in terms of AI part, we'll be also covering the Gen AI portions as well, especially. So there are two courses, right? So one is the fundamentals, and then if you're already comfortable, then you can register for the advanced course. Yeah, and there we'll be covering more on the ML part, the MLA part, especially with respect to Python. I think ma'am is also joining back, so let's go back to the session then. Let's have the questions later. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think there is some internet issue at my place, so I'm not able to continue. Okay. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Now in this basic course, as I already discussed, we have 17 modules. Each modules will be covered in 10 hours. Some modules we will be covering in 20 hours as well. So where we are teaching mathematics, statistics, as well as the introduction in securities market. Then we are also taking the Python, basic of Python and the R. There is a trading simulation as well, where we have a 20 hours module. We have a simulation lab where you will get an online access to just learn the algorithm trading, how to develop the algorithm, and how to deal with the different algorithm tools. Then we have an introduction of AI tools. What are the AI tools available where you can check your coding part as well as any other document, and different tools like chat gpt, how to use the chat gpt in a very different manner that you are going to learn. So all these total hours will be 170. The tools we are dealing as advanced excel are python, power bi, and the google data analytics, which we will be using for data visualization. We will be also teaching sas, which is a student version, where we will be teaching the forecasting model, predictive model, how to develop the predictive model, and as well as we have the Tableau also in this course. So this course is basically deal with the 170 modules we have. So any other the assessment I already discussed, the assessment will be in the form of like the students, whatever the faculties will give and all that parts. So thank you from my side. If any question, we are open for the question answer session now. I think Vivek, you are just taking up the questions, so you can just continue. Then I will just cover up. The uh, the form will be closing on 15th of July. So please take care because we are receiving a lot of applications. So in that case, just start your application process, and later on you will get information regarding the screening test and what are the topics I already discussed, what are the topics will be there. And anyways, you will be getting the recording of the session for the webinar. So maybe in that also it is mentioned that it is a general mathematics and statistics knowledge. We want to check the quantitative profile of the students. That's it. Yes, the class recordings will be shared with you. Once you finish the session, it will be shared with you on the next day. Sometimes on the weekdays, you will get the session on that day itself by end of the day, or the by once you finish the session after that. Uh, yes, I think there is one question that I have paid rupees 600 for the application. What I have to do next? You already paid the registration fee, so don't worry. You will get the other information very soon once the application dates will get close. Vivek, there is one question. Application in wealth sales. How will be helpful in selling
Right.
investment product?
Yeah, so you can actually we'll have forecasting models, right? Like in that case, I think the name is yes, some I'm not sure who's the name. Yeah, you can Sudha Mishra, yes. So basically, you have a lot of applications, especially in terms of forecasting sales. Okay, so what you can do is we'll be definitely teaching you like in terms of Python and R, and you can use them for forecasting as well as there's a bit of predictive aspect as well in pricing also, right? So pricing is an important area where you price your product and based on the customer's needs, and then you can um, look into that area as well. So either into forecasting side or in terms of pricing side. And of course, we have other options as well.
Okay. There is one question how this course will helpful for company secretaries. So for the CA students, I think quantitative like creating the portfolios, investment strategies, then the credit scores, then different other tools AI. What are the AI tools applicable? So Vivek, if you have any application, all this application we will be teaching, and if you want to add on something in this, you can. Vivek.
Especially with respect to the advanced versions of the course, we'll be having more applications as such, especially bringing in machine learning aspects, the supervised and unsupervised for catering to the needs of the predictive problem or classification problem or a segmentation problem. Accordingly, we'll be looking into applications as such. So that will be more covered in the advanced versions.
Yeah, there is one question like from basic. There is one thing I want to tell you, participants. Once you finish your basic course, so there will be the screening test for the basic. Once you finish your basic course for the advanced, there will be the direct admission. There will be no screening test for the students, those who successfully finish this basic course.
That's like a bonus for them, basically, like to complete
Correct.
on
Yes.
the basic version and then they can
Yeah,
move to the advanced version.
correct. That's true. What role do emerging technology like generative AI or large language model play in the future of financial data science?
Yes, that's a good question actually, especially in terms of the understanding the market sentiments, right? So there you have a huge score, especially for Gen AI taking into account. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand the market sentiments and the people, even in terms of personalization as well, the customer preferences to understand them and fine tune your products. In that case, also Gen AI plays a very vital role actually.
Preeti, if you can just see any other question we have in our question. You are on mute, Preeti.
Yeah. One more question, like help me understand it that if I have to build a portfolio or a plan for client requirements, would be able definitely yes, because when you look into security analysis and portfolio management, right? So in terms of that, definitely this will help you out. Of course, it's more of application this SAPM stuff, right?
So there's one more question. This data science course deals with only securities market.
Predominantly
No,
yes.
it's yeah, Vivek, go ahead.
Yeah, so of course, see, the data science knowledge as such, you can apply across any segment. But since it's more towards securities and markets, we'll be giving more examples towards in that particular area. But of course, you can apply the same knowledge to any area. I mean, not only securities and markets, you can apply to any part of finance. Not only finance, you can apply in marketing or any horizontal or again any vertical as well. Okay. So same thing you are going to repurpose in different spectrum actually. That's it, right?
Thank you, sir.
So I think Preeti, there is no questions now. So we can close the session, I feel.
Okay. I would like to express my gratitude and a big thank you to our speakers and all the participants who have joined worldwide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the best, students.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you, sir.